Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Today we are working on my snowblower, and I have it in position already. I may or may not have included the video of how I got it here, but I had two problems. One, you can see my electric starter basically was just hanging, so the electric starter wasn't working. And when you put down the throttle to engage the tracks, it wasn't engaging. It was basically not moving or moving very little. So I was thinking the worst, that it's going to have something to do with the tracks or the chains or something came apart in there. But anyway, let's make this a two-part video. One, get it in the service position. I'll probably include the other video, but if I did not, you're tilting it forward like this, and then you have basically it's a bottom plate that has four 10mm screws at the bottom, and that comes off. And I'll give you guys more of a bird's eye view. But anyway, the first things first is the electric starter. It's held on by two bolts. And it's a Torx bolt, and the two on the bottom completely gone. I don't know where they went. But anyway, if you're actually going to replace this, you have this up here. It's basically held on by two screws. And this mechanism, you got to take the cover off, and this mechanism's underneath. And then you got your starter, which is here, and that's got the engaging gear that goes back and forth. And you're basically kind of just like slipping it back into where it's got to go. And I have the one bolt that's still in place up there, so I'm going to kind of use that as a little bit of a guide. So we know that one's there. So we're going to put this other one in. And I'm going to use a little bit of blue Loctite so we can get these back out. Oop, that's a little bit too much. Brand new tube. So basically you are setting these down almost, it's basically all the way. It's got like a stop point on it, so you know how far you can go. Okay, got that started finally. So these are basically set screws. So I guess they have the preset for altitude, or I guess you call it the height of the screw. And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't starting. I'd heard the starter going, but then it would not move. Okay, so we'll put that on kind of snug. And I couldn't match the screws, so basically what I had to do is I had to take this screw out, go down to my local hardware store and find something where the threads matched, just so you guys know. That's where I got them from. So I'm not entirely sure what size they are. But anyway, okay, so you kind of slide the motor in, get it a little bit on a tilt, and then you'll kind of feel it go, slide into place. Okay, so we know that that's good. And then I'm going to take some blue Loctite and put them on these screws, because since this vibrated around so much, that's basically what happened. So I'll just put a little bit on there, and then hopefully you can get in there with make sure you're using the right size screwdriver so you don't strip that screw head out, because if you do, you're gonna be sorry. Okay, so I'll put a little more blue Loctite on this. And there you go. So that's how you would replace your starter if you needed to. This one's still working good, but they notoriously seem to fail. So anyway, so that's fixed. Now onto another problem where you're basically engaging the movement forward or reverse, and that's going to activate this switch, which is basically going to move this wheel on this pressure plate. So you can see now it's like loose, and the track's been pretty freely. You can kind of see that. But what's happening is that when you engage your handles, and I am going to use a zip tie to mimic holding that handle on. So this is you're engaged. So you're up there, you're doing your driveway, but the wheel, you can still kind of spin it by hand. And you shouldn't want to be able to do that. Let me squat down here so you guys can see that. So see how I'm moving up by hand? You shouldn't be able to do that because they should be resting on your plate. But what's happened is this cable, as taut as it seems, you have an adjustment up here that's going to basically engage that a lot better. So see how kind of loose that is? It shouldn't be that loose. Hopefully you can kind of see that from the angle. Let me get around the front of it. But it's basically, it's this piece right here, and it's got two chain fittings on it. Let me drop my lift down a little bit so we can see this a lot better. Give it some added weight so we go down a little bit faster. Okay, so you can see this is your adjustment screw. So basically you just want to wind that up and see how the screws are just kind of like floating around in midair right there. So we got the handle up. So we're going to screw this up a little bit further, probably to where that screw is. I would imagine, my delusion is that's probably where it came loose from. Alright, let's see how. Okay, so that makes it a lot easier. Alright, let's put my little zip tie on there. And we come down here, and now, see, I can't move that by hand. So that means that's going to engage that friction plate really good. So that's what the problem was. So if your tracks aren't moving, see if when you have your handle engaged up there, see if you can move your little wheel by hand. Now another thing to look for is to see if your wheel is worn, this little rubber wheel. This one's pretty good shape still. So the only problem was this cable basically just came loose. So what we're going to do now is, with some little crescent wrenches, we're going to loosen that back up again. Take my little zip tie off, release the tension, and then we're going to I'm going to move that screw or that bolt up a little bit. I'm going to give it one or two more turns, and then I'm basically going to lock that bolt down and then put this one down on top of it. And then we're going to tighten it up with a little baby crescent wrench. Adjustable wrench, whatever you want to call it. And the same thing, we'll put a little tension on this. They'll tighten that nut down. And hopefully I'm getting this. This is a tough angle. Alright, so that's going. We'll set this one down. Alright, so tighten that up pretty good. Alright. Now they won't let go. But anyway, so that's all you needed. So now we're going to have some nice good tight tension on that. So we should have no problems moving that back and forth up. And while you're in there, put some grease on the chain, but make sure you keep that pressure plate nice and dry. Okay, anyway, that's your quick fix on your tracks not moving and how to reattach your starter and put a new starter in. Okay, Brian from Garage Mahal, thanks for watching. Be safe out there. Thanks for subscribing as well.